I'm very happy to make your acquaintance.
How fare thee, friend?
I'm the Race Guild Guide. I provide instantaneous transport between various... Welcome to our fair town. If you're new to Sadrith Mora, I'm sure you'll see much that puzzles you. Do you Yes, Ariel has a staff like that.
Well, I find
Welcome,
myself
friend.
in
The day is
difficulty.
yours.
Please share
What
your
you-
thoughts.
And good day to you. I assume you're new to Sadrith Mora since we've never spoken before. I know most everyone in town. Can I help you find someone in particular? Yes, I have a staff of the Silver Dawn. I don't use it very often. I prefer daggers myself. I'll sell it to you for 300 drakes. Here, take it. Come see me if you're ever looking for another enchanted item. Good to see you again. What can I do?
Oh, greeting.
I'm the Race Guild Guide. I provide instantaneous transport, but yes, Ariel has a...
It is truly a pleasure to see you.
I'd be happy.
Were you able to arrange a
My
meeting?
pleasure, really.
Speak with the wise women of the Ashlander tribes. From what I've heard, you honor me. Please
The same to
speak.
you. Welcome to Sadrith Mora and House Telvanni country. What brings you to the island? Are you planning to visit some specific...
We are blessed. The same to you. Welcome to Sadrith Mora and House Telvanni country. What brings you to the island? Are you planning to visit some specific place here? Or is there anything else I can help you with?
I must say, I find you most interesting right now. Please.
Do you want something from me?
Walk with virtue. 3 blessings, Sarah.
Have you found the Staff of the Silver Dawn? Is that the Staff of the Silver Dawn? Good. I hope Master Neloth will be pleased with it. I have this old dagger I no longer use, and I can teach you to blind your enemies as the staff does. Yes, of course. Now, if you'll excuse me... Yes, we find you worthy of Oathman. You have the skills we seek, but you have not done enough chores for House Telvanni. I do not have any chores for you. Check with my patron, Master Neloth, or with the other mouths.
I am Galos Methendis, the mouth of Master Arion. Master Arion is my patron. He lives in the new Telvanni city of Telvos. Master Arion's tower is near Voss. Take a boat to Voss and head west. Master Arion wants a message delivered to Vvardenfell. Would you carry this coded message? He lives in Telfir. He is one of the oldest and most respected wizards in House Telvanni, though he shows an unfortunate lack of interest in politics. To get to Telfir, you'll have to swim or fly southwest from Sadrith Mora. It's a long trip. Perhaps I should mark Telfir on your map. My patron, Master Arion, wants this coded message delivered to Vvardenfell. He lives in Telfir. You might need some help getting there. Why not take these potions of water walking, and these potions of healing, and perhaps a few potions of swift swim as well? If Vvardenfell responds to this message, please deliver his response back to me.
Walk with virtue, Outlander. Go ahead, Outlander. What do you need? Have you come to plunder the dungeon, or have you...
Yes, Outland. Hello. How are you doing? Bit of bad news, I'm afraid. The potion doesn't seem to work on others. Tried it on 2 hopeless cases. Killed them outright. Deader than a garlic snail. But is there anything I can help you with? It worked, didn't it? Remarkable. Perhaps it will work on the other inmates. I'll have to proceed carefully, of course. You may be a message from Master Arian. Yes, I will accept this message. Please wait here while I read this. In just a minute, I will write a reply. Here, take this back to Mouth Gallos Methendis. Tell him that I must reject his master's thoughtful proposal. These are the docks of Molag Mar, Outlander, and I'm Rindral Draelor, shipmaster of Molag Mar. What's your destination? If you like, I can tell you about the local service.
Go ahead, Outlander. What do you need? These are the docks of Tel Branora, and I'm the shipmaster.
Have you delivered the coded message to Devaithfir? Has Devaithfir given you a response to my... Thank you. I will deliver this message to my patron, Master Arian. Please take this courier fee of 500 drakes. You have the skills we seek, but you have... The Telvanni apothecary in Telvos is running out of cure blight potions. Since my patron, Master Arian, is responsible for Tel Voss in a sense, he has asked me to find someone to deliver a cure blight potion. Master Arian's tower is near Voss. Take a boat to Voss and head west. Andil in Tel Voss is the apothecary you should speak with. Get 3 potions of cure blight and deliver them to Andil. You'll have to buy them from one of the vendors. Andil does not accept homemade potions. Andil in Tel Voss is the apothecary you should speak with. Get 3 potions. Master Arian's tower is near Voss. Take a boat to Voss and head west.
Yes, Outlander, what may I do for you?
You looking for a ship? What's your destination?
Is there something I can do for you? These are the docks of Tel Mora, Outlander, and I'm
Welcome to Tel Voss. Master Arian is our patron mage lord and a Telvanni counselor. As you can see, Tel Voss is a mixture of old Telvanni and new imperial styles. Just like our Master Arian, can I help you find someone in particular? If you want to speak with him, you must levitate up to the top of the tower and look for a door facing south.
I'm Teredas Talanian, chief of Master Arian's mercenary guard. Providing for the prosperity of Tel Vos and the village of Vos is my trade. And from the looks of you, adventuring is your trade. If you are an adventurer, would you be interested in a little work? We've been trying to establish trade links with the Zainab. Master Arian thinks that shared self-interest will make the Zainab more careful about offending Tel Vos. But dealing with the Zainab is tricky, requiring knowledge of the Ashlanders, a silver tongue, and sharp wits. I'll pay you 100 drakes to visit the Zainab camp and find out what goods the tribe would be interested in trading for. Good. When you've determined the trade goods wanted by the Zainab, report back to me. When we know the trade goods wanted by the Zainab, we hope to engage them in trade as a step towards establishing better relations with them. Zainab Camp is southwest of the village of Vos, near the foothills of Red Mountain. Here, let me mark it on your map. Head southwest across the grazelands until you strike. Good. When you've determined the trade goods wanted by... I am Teredas Talanian, warrior and lawman of the great house Telvan. I'm a warrior by trade, and an officer by training. I served in the legions, and I know how to run a garrison. I know how to fight, and I know how to lead men. Master Arian is a very original thinker, and I help him keep his feet on the ground.
An obscure text in the language of the Slode, purportedly written by the Second-era Western necromancer Nagasta.
Please join me. Yes, I have heard you may want to be the Telvanni Hortator. A Hortator is a special champion and war leader chosen to lead a great house in war. Why do you ask? The Telvanni councillors would have to vote, and the vote would have to be unanimous. A Hortator is a special champ. Yes, I understand. You are willing to take the responsibility, and I am willing to vote for you as Hortator. I think the other Telvanni councillors will also cooperate, though some might need a little persuading. Master Neloth is ill-tempered, Mistress Dratha doesn't like men, and Mistress Thorana is losing her mind. Archmagister Gothrin is another problem. He will not refuse you directly, but will delay indefinitely. I recommend that you to kill Archmagister Gothrin. He lives in Tel Naga, the tower in Sadrith Mora. He has a short temper, but he will listen to reason if you are persuasive enough. Do not expect him to be polite. Mistress Dratha is the oldest living Telvanni councillor, and is sustained by the necromantic arts. She dislikes men of all races, though I do not know why. You may find her in her tower, in Tel Mora. She has not aged well and becomes more eccentric every year. Her tower is in Tel Brenora, which is on Azura's coast far to the southeast. Archmagister Gothrin never directly refuses requests. He just delays indefinitely, never giving an answer. I don't know of any solution other than killing Gothrin. I'll tell you plainly. I stand to gain if Archmagister Gothrin dies. I say this so you won't think I'm trying to trick you. My advice is still good. Gothrin won't name you Hortator, but he'll never come out and say so. And in House Telvanni, it is customary to settle disputes in this manner. I know little of House Redrin, but I have had dealings with Athen Sarethi in the past. Perhaps you should speak with him first. He lives under Scar in Aldrun. There are two men you should speak with, Orvus Dren at the Dren Plantation, and Crassius Curio in Vivek. You're the outlander that has caused so much trouble. No, don't get me wrong. I am pleased at what you have already accomplished. I may have a few things for you to do later, but for now, speak with Gallos Methendis, my mouth, in Sadrith Mora. This one honors us. Please, speak.
If I can be a...
What do you want, Outlander? Walk with virtue,
You come to us, Outlander? You ask us about the trade goods wanted among the Zainab? We are just the women. No one listens to us. But since you ask, we will tell you what we think. We Zainab make everything we need. We do not need things from outsiders. But our men get common diseases and blight diseases when they go out hunting or tending the herds. They are sometimes gone for long terms and cannot return all the way back to camp to be cured by the wise women. The settled people make the bottled magics that cure common disease and blight disease, but the Zainab are often in short supply of these things. Such bottled magics might be the trade goods we would want. Yes, Outlander, how do you do?
How can I... How can I help you?
Did you deliver the cure blight potion?
What do you want of me, Outlander? And good day to you. I'm Anis Seloth. I assume you're new to Sadrith Mora, since we've never spoken before. I know most everyone in town. Can I help you find someone in particular?
Welcome to our fair town. If you're new to Sadrith Mora, I'm sure you'll see much that puzzles you. Do you have any questions?
And good day to you. I'm Lalam Madalas. I assume you're new to Sadrith Mora, since we've never spoken before. I know most everyone in town. Can I help you find someone in particular? You looking for a ship? What's your destination?
Yes, Outlander. What do you... I'm Tonus Telvanni, shipmaster of Telmora. What's your destination?
I'm Teretus Telanian, chief of Master Arian's. When we know the trade goods wanted by the Zainab, we hope to engage them in trade. When we know the trade goods wanted by the Zainab, we hope to engage them in trade as a step towards establishing. Zainab camp is southwest of the village of Voss, near the foothills of Red Mountain. Here. If you care to... I'm Teretus Telanian, chief of Master Arian's mercenary guard. Thank you for your report. So you think cure common disease and cure blight disease potions would be valuable trade goods? That makes sense? Master Arian will be pleased. He can produce such potions very easily. Well done. Here's your 100 drakes with my thanks. I'll tell Master Arian how you've handled this. I think he'll be pleased. And here, you'll find this amulet handy when visiting Telvanni wizards. Yes, I'm pleased, and I think Master Arian will be pleased.
Walk with virtue, Outlander. So have you gathered the votes of the other counselors? You're the Outlander that has caused so much trouble. No, don't get me wrong. I am pleased. Each mouth represents his or her patron, who is one of the older.
Palla. I remember when I first heard that name not long ago at all. It was at a Tails and Tallows ball at a very fine estate west of Mere Corrup, to which I and my fellow Mages Guild initiates had found ourselves unexpectedly invited. Truth be told, we needn't have been too surprised. There were very few other noble families in Mere Corrup. The region had its halcyon days as a resort for the wealthy far back in the Second Era, and on reflection it was only appropriate to have sorcerers and wizards present at a supernatural holiday. Not that we were anything more exotic than students at a small, non-exclusive charter house of the Guild. But like I said, there was a paucity of other choices available. For close to a year, the only home I had known was the rather ramshackle if sprawling grounds of the Mere Corrupt Mages Guild. My only companions were my fellow initiates, most of which only tolerated me and the masters, whose bitterness at being at a backwater guild prompted never-ending abuse. Immediately the School of Illusion had attracted me. The magister who taught us recognized me as an apt pupil who loved not only the spells of the science, but their philosophical underpinnings. There was something about the idea of warping the imperceptible energies of light, sound, and mind that appealed to my nature. Not for me the flashy schools of destruction and alteration, the holy schools of restoration and conjuration, the practical schools of alchemy and enchantment, or the chaotic school of mysticism. No, I was never so pleased as to take an ordinary object and by a little magic make it seem something other than what it was. It would have taken more imagination than I had to apply that philosophy to my monotonous life. After the morning's lessons, we were assigned tasks before our evening classes. Mine had been to clean out the study of a recently deceased resident of the guild and categorize his clutter of spell books, charms, and incunabula. It was a lonely and tedious appointment. Magister Tendixus was an inveterate collector of worthless junk, but I was reprimanded any time I threw something away of the least possible value. Gradually, I learned enough to deliver each of his belongings to the appropriate department: potions of healing to the Magisters of Restoration, books on physical phenomena to the Magisters of Alteration, herbs and minerals to the alchemists, and soul gems and bound items to the enchanters. After one delivery to the enchanters, I was leaving with my customary lack of appreciation when Magister Iltha called me back. "Boy," said the portly old man, handing me back one item, "destroy this." It was a small black disc covered with runes with a ring of red-orange gems, like bones, circling its periphery. "I'm sorry, Magister," I stammered. "I thought it was something you'd be interested in." "Take it to the Great Flame and destroy it," he barked, turning his back on me. "You never brought it here." My interest was piqued, because I knew the only thing that would make him react in such a way: necromancy. I went back to Magister Tendixus's chamber and pored through his notes, looking for any reference to the disc. Unfortunately, most of the notes had been written in a strange code that I was powerless to decipher. I was so fascinated by the mystery that I nearly arrived late for my evening class in enchantment, taught by Magister Iltha himself. For the next several weeks, I divided my time categorizing the general debris and making my deliveries, and researching the disc. I came to understand that my instinct was correct. The disc was a genuine necromantic artifact. Though I couldn't understand most of the Magister's notes, I determined that he thought it to be a means of resurrecting a loved one from the grave. Sadly, the time came when the chamber had been categorized and cleared, and I was given another assignment, assisting in the stables of the guild's menagerie. At least finally, I was working with some of my fellow initiates, and had the opportunity of meeting the common folk and nobles who came to the guild on various errands. Thus was I employed when we were all invited to the Tales and Tallows ball. If the expected glamour of the evening were not enough, our hostess was reputed to be young, rich, unmarried orphan from Hammerfell. Only a month or two before had she moved to our desolate, wooded corner of the imperial province to reclaim an old family manor house and grounds. The initiates at the guild gossiped like old women about the mysterious young lady's past, what had happened to her parents, why she had left or been driven from her homeland. Her name was Betaniki, and that was all we knew. We wore our robes of initiation with pride as we arrived for the ball. At the enormous marble foyer, a servant announced each of our names as if we were royalty, and we strutted into the midst of the revellers with great puffery. Of course, we were then promptly ignored by one and all. In essence, we were unimportant figures to lend some thickness to the ball. Background characters. The important people pushed through us with perfect politeness. There was old lady Shaudira discussing diplomatic appointments to Balmora with the Duke of Rimfarlin. An orc warlord entertained a giggling princess with tales of rape and pillage. 3 of the guild magisters worried with 3 painfully thin noble spinsters about the haunting of Daggerfall. Intrigues at the imperial and various royal courts were analysed, gently mocked, fretted over, toasted, dismissed, evaluated, mitigated, admonished, subverted. No one looked our way even when we were right next to them. It was as if my skill at illusion had somehow rendered us all invisible. I took my flagon out to the terrace. The moons were doubled, equally luminous in the sky and in the enormous reflecting pool that stretched out into the garden. The white marble statuary lining the sides of the pool caught the fiery glow and seemed to burn like torches in the night. The sight was so otherworldly that I was mesmerized by it, and the strange red-guard figures immortalized in stone. Our hostess had made her home there so recently that some of the sculptures were still wrapped in sheets that billowed and swayed in the gentle breeze. I don't know how long I stared before I realized I wasn't alone. She was so small and so dark, not only in her skin but in her clothing, that I nearly took her for a shadow. When she turned to me, I saw that she was very beautiful and young, not more than 17. "Are you our hostess?" I finally asked. "Yes," she smiled, blushing. "But I'm ashamed to admit that I'm very bad at it. I should be inside with my new neighbours, but I think we have very little in common." It's been made abundantly clear that they hope I have nothing in common with them either. I laughed. When I'm a little higher than an initiate in the Mages Guild, they might see me as more of an equal. "I don't understand the concept of equality in Cyrodiil yet," she frowned. "In my culture you proved your worth, not just expected it. My parents both were great warriors, as I hope to be." Her eyes went out to the lawn, to the statues. "Do the sculptures represent your parents?" "That's my father Pariom there," she said, gesturing to a life-sized representation of a massively built man, unashamedly naked, gripping another warrior by the throat and preparing to decapitate him with an outstretched blade. It was clearly a realistic depiction. Pariom's face was plain, even slightly ugly, with a low forehead, a mass of tangled hair, stubble on his cheeks, even a slight gap in his teeth, which no sculptor would surely have invented, except to do justice to his model's true idiosyncrasies. "And your mother?" I asked, pointing to a nearby statue of a proud, rather squat warrior woman in a mantilla and scarf, holding a child. "Oh, no," she laughed. "That was my uncle's old nurse. Mother's statue still has a sheet over it." I don't know what prompted me to insist that we unveil the statue that she pointed to. In all likelihood, it was nothing but fate, and a selfish desire to continue the conversation. I was afraid that if I did not give her a project, she would feel the need to return to the party, and I would be alone again. At first she was reluctant. She had not yet made up her mind whether the statues would suffer in the wet, sometimes cold Cyrodiilic climate. Perhaps all should be covered, she reasoned. It may be that she was merely making conversation, and was reluctant, as I was, to end the standoff and be that much closer to having to return to the party. In a few minutes' time we tore the tarp from the statue of Betaniki's mother. That is when my life changed forevermore. She was an untamed spirit of nature, screaming in a struggle with a misshapen monstrous figure in black marble. Her gorgeous long fingers were raking across the creature's face. The monster's talons gripped her right breast in a sort of caress that prefaces a mortal wound. Its legs and hers wound around one another in a battle that was a dance. I felt annihilated. This lithe but formidable woman was beautiful beyond all superficial standards. Whoever had sculpted it had somehow captured not only a face and figure of a goddess, but her power and will. She was both tragic and triumphant. I fell instantly and fatally in love with her. I had not even noticed when Gelin, one of my fellow initiates who was leaving the party, came up behind us. Apparently I had whispered the word magnificent, because I heard Betaniki reply, as if miles away, "Yes, it is magnificent. That's why I was afraid of exposing it to the elements." Then I heard clearly, like a stone breaking water, Gelin, "Mara, preserve me. That must be Pala." "Then you heard of my mother?" asked Betaniki, turning his way. "I hail from Wayrest, practically on the border to Hammerfell. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't heard of your mother and her great heroism ridding the land of that abominable beast. She died in that struggle, didn't she?" "Yes," said the girl sadly, "but so too did the creature." For a moment we were all silent. I don't remember anything more of that night. Somehow I knew I was invited to dine the next evening, but my mind and heart had been entirely and forever more arrested by the statue. I returned back to the guild, but my dreams were fevered and brought me no rest. Everything seemed diffused by white light, except for one beautiful, fearsome woman, Palla. 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 The name burned in my heart. I found myself whispering it in my studies, even when I tried to concentrate on something the Magister was saying. My lips would silently purse to voice the pal, and tongue lightly flick to form the la, as if I were kissing her spirit before me. It was madness in every way, except that I knew that it was madness. I knew I was in love. I knew she was a noble Redguard woman, a fierce warrior more beautiful than the stars. I knew her young daughter Betaniki had taken possession of a manor house near the guild, and that she liked me, perhaps was even infatuated. I knew Palla had fought a terrible beast and killed it. I knew Palla was dead. As I say, I knew it was madness, and by that I knew I could not be mad. But I also knew that I must return to Betaniki's palace to see her statue of my beloved Palla engaged in that final, horrible, fatal battle with the monster. Return I did over and over again. Had Betaniki been a different sort of noblewoman, more comfortable with her peers, I would not have had so many opportunities. In her innocence, unaware of my sick obsession, she welcomed my company. We would talk for hours, laughing, and every time we would take a walk to the reflecting pond, where I would always stop breathless before the sculpture of her mother. "It's a marvellous tradition you have, preserving these figures of your ancestors at their finest moments," I said, feeling her curious eyes on me. "And the craftsmanship is without parallel." "You wouldn't believe me," laughed the girl, "but it was a bit of scandal when my great-grandfather began the custom. We Redguards hold a great reverence for our families, but we are warriors, not artists. He hired a travelling artist to create the first statues, and everyone admired them until it was revealed that the artist was an elf, an Altmer from the Somerset Isle." "Scandal?" "It was, absolutely." Betaniki nodded seriously. "The idea that a pompous, wicked elf's hands had formed these figures of noble Redguard warriors was unthinkable, profane, irreverent, everything bad you can imagine. But my great-grandfather's heart was in the beauty of it, and his philosophy of using the best to honour the best passed down to us all. I would not have even considered having a lesser artist create the statues of my parents, even if it would have been more allegiant to my culture." "They're all exquisite," I said. "But you like the one of my mother most of all," she smiled. "I see you look at it even when you seem to be looking at the others. It's my favourite also." "Would you tell me more about her?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light and conversational. "Oh, she would have said she was nothing extraordinary, but she was," the girl said, picking a flower from the garden. "My father died when I was quite young, and she had so many roles to fill, but she did them all effortlessly. We have a great many business interests, and she was brilliant at managing everything, certainly better than I am now. All it took was her smile, and everyone obeyed, and those that didn't paid dearly. She was very witty and charming, but a formidable force when the need arose for her to fight. Hundreds of battles, but I can never remember a moment of feeling neglected or unloved. I literally thought she was too strong for death. Stupid, I know, but when she went to battle that horrible creature, that freak from a mad wizard's laboratory, I never even thought she would not return. She was kind to her friends and ruthless to her enemies. What more can one say about a woman than that?" Poor Betaniki's eyes teared up with remembrance. What sort of villain was I to goad her so, in order to satisfy my perverted longings? Sheogorath could never have conflicted a mortal man more than me. I found myself both weeping and filled with desire. Palla not only looked like a goddess, but from her daughter's story, she was one. That night, while undressing for bed, I rediscovered the black disc I had stolen from Magister Tendixus's office weeks before. I had half forgotten about its existence, that mysterious necromantic artifact which the mage believed could resurrect a dead love. Almost by pure instinct, I found myself placing the disc on my heart and whispering, "Pala." A momentary chill filled my chamber. My breath hung in the air in a mist before dissipating. Frightened, I dropped the disc. It took a moment before my reason returned, and with it the inescapable conclusion: the artifact could fulfill my desire. Until the early morning hours, I tried to raise my mistress from the chains of oblivion, but it was no use. I was no necromancer. I entertained thoughts of how to ask one of the magisters to help me, but I remembered how Magister Ilta had bid me to destroy it. They would expel me from the guild if I went to them and destroy the disc themselves. And with it, my only key to bringing my love to me. I was in my usual semi-torpid condition the next day in classes. Magister Iltha himself was lecturing on his specialty, the School of Enchantment. He was a dull speaker with a monotone voice, but suddenly I felt as if every shadow had left the room and I was in a palace of light. When most persons think of my particular science, they think of the process of invention, the infusing of charms and spells into objects, the creation of a magical blade, perhaps, or a ring. But the skilled enchanter is also a catalyst. The same mind that can create something new can also provoke greater power from something old. A ring that can generate warmth for a novice, on the hand of such a talent, can bake a forest black. The fat man chuckled. Not that I'm advocating that. Leave that for the School of Destruction. That week, all the initiates were asked to choose a field of specialization. All were surprised when I turned my back on my old darling, the School of Illusion. It seemed ridiculous to me that I had ever entertained an affection for such superficial charms. All my intellect was now focused on the School of Enchantment, the means by which I could free the power of the disc. For months thereafter, I barely slept. A few hours a week I'd spend with Betaniki and my statue to give myself strength and inspiration. All the rest of my time was spent with Magister Iltha or his assistants, learning everything I could about enchantment. They taught me how to taste the deepest levels of magicka within a stored object. A simple spell cast once, no matter how skillfully and no matter how spectacularly, is ephemeral, of the present, what it is and no more, sighed Magister Iltha. But placed in a home, it develops into an almost living energy, maturing and ripening so only its surface is touched when an unskilled hand wields it. You must consider yourself a miner, digging deeper to pull forth the very heart of gold. Every night when the laboratory closed, I practiced what I had learned. I could feel my power grow, and with it the power of the disc. Whispering Pala, I delved into the artifact, feeling every slight nick that marked the runes and every facet of the gemstones. At times I was so close to her I felt hands touching mine, but something dark and bestial, the reality of death, I suppose, would always break across the dawning of my dream. With it came an overwhelming rotting odour, which the initiates in the chambers next to mine began to complain about. Something must have crawled into the floorboards and died, I offered lamely. Magister Iltha praised my scholarship and allowed me the use of his laboratory after hours to further my studies. Yet no matter what I learned, Pala seemed scarcely closer. One night it all ended. I was swaying in a deep ecstasy, moaning her name, the disc bruising my chest, when a sudden lightning flash through the window broke my concentration. A tempest of furious rain roared over Mir Corrup. I went to close the shutters, and when I returned to my table, I found that the disc had shattered. I broke into hysterical sobs and then laughter. It was too much for my fragile mind to bear such a loss after so much time and study. The next day and the day after I spent in my bed, burning with a fever. Had I not been at a mages' guild with so many healers, I likely would have died. As it was, I provided an excellent study for the budding young scholars. When at last I was well enough to walk, I went to visit Betaniki. She was charming as always, never once commenting on my appearance, which must have been ghastly. Finally, I gave her reason to worry when I politely but firmly declined to walk with her along the reflecting pool. "But you love looking at the statuary," she exclaimed. I felt that I owed her the truth, and much more. "Dear lady, I love more than the statuary. I love your mother. She is all I've been able to think about for months now, ever since you and I first removed the tarp from that blessed sculpture. I don't know what you think of me now, but I have been obsessed with learning how to bring her back from the dead." Betaniki stared at me, eyes wide. Finally she spoke. "I think you need to leave now. I don't know if this is a terrible jest. Believe me, I wish it were. You see, I failed. I don't know why. It could not have been that my love wasn't strong enough, because no man had a stronger love. Perhaps my skills as an enchanter are not masterful, but it wasn't from lack of study." I could feel my voice rise and knew I was beginning to rant, but I could not hold back. "Perhaps the fault lay in that your mother never met me, but I think that only the caster's love is taken into account in the necromantic spell. I don't know what it was. Maybe that horrible creature, the monster that killed her, cast some sort of curse on her with its dying breath. I failed, and I don't know why." With a surprising burst of speed and strength for so small a lady, Betaniki shoved herself against me. She screamed, "Get out!" and I fled out the door. Before she slammed the door shut, I offered my pathetic apologies. "I'm so sorry, Betaniki, but consider that I wanted to bring your mother back to you. It's madness, I know, but there is only one thing that's certain in my life, and that's that I love Palla." The door was nearly shut, but the girl opened it crack to ask tremulously, "You love whom?" "Palla!" I cried to the gods. "My mother," she whispered angrily, "was named Zalis. Palla was the monster." I stared at the closed door for Mara knows how much time, and then began the long walk back to the Mages' Guild. My memory searched through the minutiae to the Tales and Talos night so long ago when I first beheld the statue and first heard the name of my love. That Breton initiate, Gelin had spoken. He was behind me. Was he recognizing the beast and not the lady? I turned the lonely bend that intersected with the outskirts of Mir Corrup, and a large shadow rose from the ground where it had been sitting, waiting for me. "Palla," I groaned. "Palla." "Kiss me," it howled. And that brings my story up to the present moment. Love is red, like blood.